All right, we're ready to go. Appreciate everybody showing up today. UCO Football Media Days. We get ready to open the preseason practice next Monday. We have with us head coach Nick Boback in the middle, running back Joshua Birmingham, defensive back Thomas Hill, offensive lineman Cameron Pound, defensive lineman Tyler Newton. I'm actually just going to let Coach Boback just give an opening statement and tell a little bit about the season and some of these guys, and then anybody want to have any questions while they're up there, feel free to ask, and then after that we can break it down into individual interviews. Once again, thanks for showing up. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Mike. And thank you guys for being here. You know that we're very excited about getting started again this year. It is obviously a new time here at UCO. You know, last season was a success in our mind. You know the progress that we made, the steps that we were able to make within the program. I think the biggest steps that will be seen on the field is the amount of change that we've seen within our football players, and we'll be a more rugged, larger, longer football team than what we were last fall, and that's one of the great things that we learned last fall is playing within the MIAA. You know, the depth that you've got to have, the size of the football players that you have to play with. And that's why I brought these guys up here with me today. Is these guys are what we want as far as UCO football players, and these guys have done an outstanding job. They were all here when I got here. They're not guys that I recruited, but they're guys that have bought into our football program and our philosophies, our way of doing things. And that's the thing that I'm the most proud about this football team. We've got there's more of an investment than what we had last fall, and you could see it through the summer with about 80 guys working out throughout the summer and taking the opportunity to get better and the opportunity that was afforded them. They did player-led practices all summer. And they were real practices. You know, they were players, down there for 8 periods, and they went through the drills, and then they went through offensive and defensive drills, and we're very proud of what they've done as far as the leadership that they've exhibited throughout the summer. Spring ball was a success. Felt very good about what we did. We improved a lot. We were able to get a few kids in here at midterm that we were able to go through the entire spring. We've added a few more through the summer as well, guys that we're counting on to come in and make a difference, whether it be in depth or whatever it may be, special teams and so forth. But feel much better about our football team than what we did last fall. Just a little bit about these guys, starting from left to right. Josh Birmingham, has done an unbelievable job for us. And it's going to be the same thing with all of these guys. Really, is these guys are the epitome of what we want. They're leaders. They're good in the classroom. Each and every one of these guys has done outstanding academic work ever since we've been here. But with Birmingham, he's had a great deal of success here at UCO. He's already the all-time leader in all-purpose yardage here at UCO. Has done an outstanding job. Has started for us all last year and started the 2 previous years before we got here, and has continued to be as one of the best football players on our team and one of the best football players that have come through this university. Has done what it's needed to do as far as the leadership aspect, and very proud of him in that. Thomas Hill, sitting right here, defensive back, really took on more of a physical demeanor for us in the defensive backfield last year, and very proud of him for that. And it was something that was sorely lacking, as reflected in our 2-8 record. And we're not shy about that. We knew who we are. We know what we've got to be, and we know, at least we know where we've got to go in order to get where we ideally want to be in the end. But Thomas has done an outstanding job this summer. Is a very hard worker. Does an outstanding job academically as well. Tyler Newton, sitting right here. Tyler with a 4.0 last spring. Tyler started for us all of last year. Tore his meniscus in the middle of the season and finished out the year. Didn't get to go through spring ball with us, but is a tough, hard-nosed guy that just does everything that we ask him to do. Very proud of him. Local product, as is Birmingham from Luther. Both of these guys are Westmore guys. We got our lone Texan sitting right here next to me. So, and then Cameron Pound, transferred in from Sam Houston State a couple of years ago. Had to sit a year. Last year was his first year to play here at UCO. Started every game but one. Had one game where he was injured, but then ended up coming in and finishing the game. It has really been the rock on our offensive line. He will be our lone upperclassman on the offensive line, and a lot is going to be put on his shoulders. And we're very proud of him and know that he can handle the job. So we'll open it up for questions if you guys have anything of us.
With what you say and where you expect to be after last year, what do you think about the coaches and the media poll picking you guys for 10th and 11th?
Well, I think that's probably where we deserve to be. We were 2-8 last year, so we're not shy about that. We know that this was a building process for us to be able to get to where we are now, and now it's up to us to continue to improve and get better. And we believe that we've done that. We have a good idea of who we have to be in order to be successful in the MIAA. We understand our opponents a lot better this year. And I think that's as big a piece of it as anything. And then these guys have had more than just a honeymoon to get used to who I am and who my coaches are and so forth. That first spring was more of a honeymoon. Everybody's going to do everything correctly. And I think that reared its head a little bit in the fall as we kind of saw some guys' true colors that came out, and definitely saw these guys' true colors because they stuck with it the entire way through. And we've built better depth along our fronts, offensive line, defensive line, and that's the thing that I'm probably the most proud of. We're going to be a more athletic football team, and you can look at these guys, and I mean, we've got some good-looking kids up here, and we've got some good-looking football players on our team, and it's going to be a different football team when we walk out there in that first game. But wins and losses are greatly determined by the will and the execution, and these guys being able to come together and having the correct mix on a football team, I believe, is very important.
What would be the biggest improvement that you need to make to change it to maybe an 8-2 record from a 2-8? What was the difference that happened last year? What needs to be changed?
Consistency. We were competitive. The best team in our league. In Missouri Western, we were close at the end. Come down to a fourth down play towards the end of the game that they broke for a touchdown, and we had a chance if we make a stop there, we got a chance to go down and possibly tie the football game. But the biggest thing is turnovers on the offensive side of the ball and being able to tackle in space on the defensive side of the ball. I believe is very much our biggest issues last year that I think that we believe that we've addressed. You never know with the turnovers going into each and every game. You never know what's going to happen there. But the emphasis that we've put through the spring and the winter conditioning and all those type things. We've put a great emphasis on that. And tackling in space is the hardest thing to do in football. And that comes with recruiting. That comes with being bigger, more rugged. Longer kids, and that's definitely what we have on our football team. We'll look much different than what we did last fall.
You classify this as another rebuilding year, or are we going to see the real Nick Bobeck team next year?
You saw the real Nick Bobeck team last year. I mean, it's not a I don't ever want to slight what those kids did. Any of the kids did last year. I'm proud of that group of kids. Like I said, we made progress. And what one person's definition of success is not what everybody's definition of success is. We knew where we were. We didn't finish well last year. It was something that was disappointing, and that's on me as a coach. It's not on the kids. We obviously want to put them in positive situations to be able to make plays in a game. But the biggest piece of that is recruiting and getting more depth into our football program. We're a young team. We're gonna report on Saturday, and we'll have under 25 kids who are juniors and/or seniors. I don't ever want to call it a rebuilding year, and I didn't want to really call it that last year. We are in a building process because I don't care if we're a national championship. We're still going to build, and that's the only goal that we have here is to win a national championship. And we talk about it with these guys, and we're going to continue to talk about it. We're going to put our eyes on what we should be, and I don't think that's that's out of sight. You know, we're the 4th all-time winningest program in Division II history. We've won 2 national championships here at UCO. It's not as if it's never been done, and you know, that's the goal. You know, and I don't care if we're national champs. It's still going to be build, 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 build. We can always be better.
Josh, all-purpose, all-time leader here at UCO, how much do you rely on people like Cameron and stuff up front?
I rely on them a lot because, you know, they are the real workhorses, you know. So it's really pleasing to have him up front blocking for me. So it is for Denton Shimmick also. He's just like Cameron. They're mean, physical, rough. It's just a blessing to be able to run behind big Cameron over there. So I will rely on him just as much as everybody on the team. So it all equals out equal to me for everybody else.
Thomas, open field tackling, coach has talked about, you guys had some problems with that. Are you helping lead the defense and maybe getting a little more ruggedness and toughness, what coach is talking about?
I mean, it's one of the things we always need to work on regardless. But now since we got depth on the team, like we brought in players that are able to make those plays, and pretty much that's what we're doing.
Coach, can you talk about Marquez Clark and Donovan Roberts a little bit, what they're going to bring to the club this year? I know that Marquez didn't get to play last year, and Roberts transferred in from Arkansas.
Right.
Yeah, can you talk about those guys a little bit?
Yeah, you know, Marquez is an explosive kid. Marquez has he also has a long way to go as far as understanding his role in the offense, you know, and that's that we challenge him with daily, you know, his role in the locker room and so forth. But he is an explosive kid. There's no question about it. You don't have the junior college career that kid had if you don't have some great explosive ability. And he's done a nice job this summer as well. You know, he's a very competitive kid. You know, and getting him back into a structured environment as far as, you know, he went through the spring, you know, and had a admirable spring. It was not great. It wasn't what I had with him in 2011, and he knows that. Him and I talk about it. But you know, we're expecting great things from him. You know, he's a different kid. It takes a lot of pressure off of different people on our football team as far as being able to stretch the field and creating space. And that's what, you know, we talk about space a lot in this game. Tackling in space is the hardest thing to do. You know, and you know, other teams aren't any different than what we are. You know, if we can get Josh in space, we can get Marquez in space, we can get you know, Christian Hood, those type kids in space. It's a nightmare, and you know, that's our job as coaches, and that's the challenge that I've put on our offensive staff, is to try to find a way to get those kids in space. You know, whether it be the screen game or you know, different things. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can do it, but you know, that's something that we're going to definitely focus on. And then, you know, Donovan coming in the spring, was able to go through the spring, and he's a really good kid. There's no question about it. He's got a lot of talent. You know, he's still a little bit, you know, hasn't found his legs yet. You know, as far as in the offense, hadn't really found his spot. You know, he came along, you know, very well, especially in the spring game. He had a really nice spring game. He adds a little bit, some physicality. He's a larger kid. He's a you know, almost 6 foot tall. You know, he's going to be a bruising type kid. You know, he's had you know, he's had a good summer in the weight room and has done some really nice things. So we're excited about him. You know, another kid in the backfield is Christian Bobo, that played very well for us last year, and he's going to have an expanded role in our offense. That you know, I'm really excited about those guys. We've got a really skill-wise on the offensive side of the ball. We are going to be really good.
But still, Josh's offense, so you're gonna put some of those kids in that.
Well, I mean, you know, Josh is a good player, but he can't carry it all. You know, it's going to be what we want to do is we've got to find a way in our staff meetings and so forth. We know what we've got in Josh Birmingham. He's a good player, and you know, he's one of the best players in the country. We don't think that there's any question about that. You know, the thing that we've got to do is we've got to be able to move him around and make people recognize where he's lining up. And that's a challenge, you know, because you talk about simplicity and things like that. You don't want to confuse. You don't want to create paralysis by analysis or anything like that within our football team, keeping the verbiage the same. But you have to find a way to get the ball into your playmaker's hands, and oftentimes that means moving him.
Nick, one of the games last year kind of, was here, kind of got out of control on it. I don't want to go into the details, I'm sure you know which one it was. What do you do to prevent a repeat of that? Is a game like that kind of a season morale killer, or what do you tell the players afterwards? And if you guys have anything you want to add about how you put something like that behind you, feel free.
Yeah, I still haven't put it behind me. It's a bad taste in my mouth. To be honest with you, it was embarrassing, and these guys know it, and we've talked about it. I mean, that's one thing that you'll notice in our program is we're very honest. We talk about stuff. You know, they're going to get, you know, directly from my mouth what it is, and I was embarrassed about that situation, the halftime situation. Mike and I talked about it on our way to media day. And that's something that's never going to happen again here, and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. The game against Northwest Missouri, and you know, those guys are a really good football team, but you know, that was part of our growing last year, and our kids responded. You know, they responded later in the year, and we played some of our best football. You know, but it is a growing process, and it is a growing process. You know, so we, you know, it's a you know, it did leave a bad taste in our mouth, and it still does. You know, so I'm not shy about saying that.
That came at 2 weeks after probably your highlight victory of the year.
It did, yeah, and that was maybe the most disappointing piece about it, because you play Washburn and you beat them at home, and they were the number 9 ranked team in the country. You go up to Missouri Western, you don't start very well, but you have enough guts to come back and get, you know, we were close. It's not a moral victory, but you could feel things maybe turning at that point, and then you had the setback, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and that's life, you know, and that's part of our process here. And, you know, we talked about it, and, you know, it's hopefully gone. You know, we don't have any more issues like that, but, you know, it did happen, and there's nothing else you can do but talk about it and address it and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Were they that much better than Washburn? Or?
They were pretty stinking good. You know, they were really good. But you know, I don't know that they were that much better than Washburn. I think that you know, and I'm not afraid to say it with these guys sitting up here. We really felt that week that you know, at halftime we were aggravated to snot because we had guys leaving the sideline with 30 seconds left on the clock at halftime, and we felt that we really kind of folded our tent at a time in that game. And that's a reflection of me, and that's poor on my part, and that's something that's never going to happen again, and we've got to take ownership of that.
Cameron, what's it like blocking for a back like Josh? Is it giving you more motivation to get in the trenches and harder than what you play, or just you have your own game?
I mean, it's fun blocking for Josh. I enjoy blocking for anybody, but it's nice whenever not the greatest block in the world gives him just enough space to get through. I mean, he's a great back. He'll find any hole, even if there's not one there. So, I mean, some of the times he makes us look good, to be honest.
Anybody else? All right, we're good. All right, well, we'll just give you guys some time to talk to some of these guys, or coach individually. You guys just hang out and we'll kind of